This is Coyote News.
Tonight on Coyote Sports, the men and women's basketball teams play in the Dakota Dome for the final time. Plus, Coyote News' Brandon Noel speaks with a member of the golf team about their upcoming season. I'm Kayla Dorhout.
And I'm Levi Goots. The track and field teams preparing for the Indoor Conference Championships this weekend. And in Cassidy's Corner, she gives us her take on a certain international sports rivalry. But first, the headlines. Sophie?
Hilton Hotels has apologized after Cleveland Cavaliers guard Kyrie Irving said he was bitten by bedbugs during the team's stay at the hotel this past weekend in Oklahoma City. Irving played just 9 minutes in the win over the Thunder. The team blamed flu-like symptoms, but Irving later said it was because of bedbugs he discovered on a pillow. Colorado Rockies shortstop Jose Reyes has been placed on paid leave by Major League Baseball. Reyes will remain on leave until the completion of his domestic violence case in Hawaii. Once the case is completed, Commissioner Rob Manfred will decide whether to discipline the shortstop. MLB officials say it'll have no further comment until Reyes' case is resolved. A new NCAA guideline says that coaches can no longer subtweet potential recruits. Subtweeting refers to mentioning an unsigned recruit by name or nickname on Twitter. Coaches have used this as a way to endorse recruits without violating NCAA rules. The new guideline says coaches can't mention recruits on Twitter until they've signed with the university. And those are your headlines.
The men's golf team's first event of the spring season was cut short due to severe weather. Coyote News' Brandon Noel is live in the muck with a member of the team to talk about their upcoming season. Brandon.
Thanks, Kayla. The men finished 12th out of 13th at the Atchafalaya tournament in Louisiana this last week. I'm joined today with junior Cody Seal. Cody, thanks for joining us today, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You know, the last meet was on October 27th for the fall, and it's been about 4 months now.
That's right.
Can you talk about that a little bit? Does it feel great to get back out there?
It does. It does. Taking 4 months off like that, it gives us a chance to breathe, kind of rest, and then come out fresh in the spring. Usually, I mean, if you look at our numbers from past years, we usually play better in the spring. So just because you feel fresh and excited to get out there again.
Okay. And, you know, talking about the weather, too, you guys have to make that transition being in South Dakota when in the fall, you got all the winter, the blizzard and stuff you never know.
That's right.
How's that practicing in the Dakota Dome kind of play out for you guys going into the spring?
It's nice, actually. We have a net that we hit into, and so we can hit the full length of the dome up to it's like 100 yards into the net. So it's nice. And then this year, this winter, we just got a Coyote. We call it the Cave, but it's an indoor putting room. And so we have turf that we can putt on. So it's an improvement for us this year.
Okay. You know, this last year, you guys won the Summit League tournament, and it was definitely something for the books. How are you guys, or what are you guys going to do to try and repeat that this year?
Well, we just got to keep hitting the dome. I think the weather's warming up, so we got to get outside here. We're a deep team. We have a lot of guys that could be playing in the conference championship. So we're underdogs. So go out there and play like nothing to lose.
All right. There you have it. That's Cody Seal, Jr. for the University of South Dakota golf team. You can look forward to seeing them play March 12th and 13th at the George Mason Mission in Spring Invite in Florida. Live for Coyote Sports, I'm Brandon Noel.
It was a big weekend for Coyote basketball. The men's and women's teams played their final games in the Dakota Dome, as Coyote News' Ethan Netz reports.
The last game for the women's team was extra special on Saturday as they beat in-state rival SDSU 80-75. The team, led by Nicole Seekamp, recorded her 9th double-double of the season. The men's team fell short, losing to Denver 76-71. General Manager for Coyote Sports Properties, Travis Lee, expressed his thoughts about leaving the Dome.
It's kind of bittersweet. Looking forward to the new digs at the new basketball volleyball arena, but you know, it's always interesting and somewhat sad to you know, move out of a facility that's been very much of a home court advantage for the Coyotes these last 37 years.
Most of the bleachers will still be utilized at the Dome for football games and track and field events.
The new facility that will house the men and women's basketball games will have a brand new built-in court, unlike the one they use now that comes up in pieces.
Lee said the current basketball court will likely end up being sold. The dome has been used for Coyote basketball since it was built in 1979, and in the past 37 years, the Coyotes have won a combination of 15 conference titles. For Coyote News, I'm Ethan Metz.
The women look to clinch their second consecutive Summit League title tomorrow night as they travel to Fort Wayne. And the men need to win one of their 2 remaining games to clinch a spot in the Summit League Conference Tournament.
The final games at the Dakota Dome weren't the only events happening this past weekend involving basketball. The Mount Rushmore of Dakota Dome basketball was announced at both the men's and women's games. Nicole Seekamp, Mandy Kopel, Katie Daly, and Amber Hegley were selected for the women at halftime for their game on Saturday. And Tim Hatchett, Josh Mueller, Nate Tibbetts, and Randy Rosenquist were chosen for the men at their game on Sunday. The 4 representatives were part of the athletics department's program to honor basketball in the Dakota Dome. The voting began in early January with 16 men and women chosen by the athletic department. Fans then voted on who they thought was the best team players in the Dakota Dome history. USD men and women's track teams will travel to Fort Wayne, Indiana on Friday to compete in the Indoor Summit League Championships. The USD men's team has finished first in the last 3 conference championship meets, and the women's team has finished second in the last few. Lucky Huber says the upcoming conference meet isn't about the individual.
Conference meets are a great experience for our kids. We've always done a good job of getting them fired up. It's unique because a lot of track meets you go to, it's more of an individual thing.
The Summit League Indoor Track Championships concludes on Saturday. The indoor track and field teams are preparing for the Summit League Championships, but the swimming and diving teams completed theirs this past weekend. The women's team took 3rd place overall, while the men's team placed 5th. Junior women's diver Grayson Herding made history, sweeping both the 1-meter and 3-meter diving events in 3 consecutive years. The junior was also named Diving Champion MVP for her performance. Junior Jacob Knowles also put in a strong performance, breaking a 16-year-old record in the 200-yard breaststroke. Freshman Hannah Gumpton set a school record for the 200-yard butterfly, and fellow freshman Teresa Godlewski broke the school record for the 200-yard backstroke.
In Cassidy's Corner this week, Cassidy gives us her take on the U.S. and Canada rivalry in soccer from a Canadian perspective.
The rivalry between USA and Canada in women's ice hockey is one of the most prominent rivalries in the world. But the rivalry between USA and Canada women's soccer teams is a bloodbath. The final for the CONCACAF Olympic qualifying tournament took place on Sunday. The purpose for the tournament is to determine which 2 teams will represent the federation in Rio this summer. It was Team USA and Team Canada that settled that, with each team's respective semifinal wins. Team USA and Team Canada met in the final after wins against Costa Rica and Trinidad and Tobago. Fans got a show of world-class talent as these 2 teams had not met since the controversial 2012 Olympic semifinal game. Canada is known for using a very physical style of play against the U.S., but it hasn't always worked, as the U.S. is 46, 3-6 all-time against Canada. The U.S. won the game 2-0 with goals scored by Lindsey Horan and Tobin Heath. The U.S. looked to captain and veteran player Carly Lloyd, who has been playing the best soccer of her career at the age of 33. Likewise, Canada leaned on their veteran captain, 32-year-old Christine Sinclair. Both teams also had help from phenom teenagers such as 16-year-old Canadian Deanna Rose and 17-year-old American Mallory Pugh. With this rivalry, I hope all fans were able to look past the statistics and see such a beautiful game played out. Both teams will be playing in this summer's Olympics, and I hope to see them put in the same group to produce another rivalry game. And that's Cassidy's Corner.